Hey everybody, want to welcome you to the Renew Show, and thank you guys for sticking with us. We know there were a couple of hangouts that went up at the last minute, so glad you were able to find us. Tonight we have a special guest, someone that I've been following for a while, but before I introduce her, I just want to give my co-hosts a chance to introduce themselves and say hello to you.
Hey everybody, Julie here. I'm really excited about the show tonight.
Hi, you guys. Hello, Punkie Lynn. It's nice to see your smiling face.
All right, so we have with us Heather, aka Punkie Lynn. I love that name. Um, And like I said, she's been somebody I've been following for a long time. I can't believe it's already the middle of June, so I've been following her for close to a year now, I guess. And she just has great videos. She has a great personality, and I really like her perspective on the journey. And so hopefully we'll get to hear a lot more of that. But just want to say thank you and welcome to the show.
Cool. I'm truly honored, actually. I love all of you guys, and I love this show, so thank you for having me on. So, a little bit about me. I had lap band almost 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. On June 9th, it was my 2-year surgiversary. I had lap band. I'm a mother of 3 boys, and that keeps me very busy. And that's about it. Long walks on the beach, right? No, yeah. I've been on this journey for a long time, and I've been stalled for a long time. So if you've followed my journey, you've heard about this stall for over a year and all the different things that I've tried to overcome it, and really haven't at this point. But I haven't given up the good fight. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, good. And well, I guess we could just start from the beginning. If you want to tell us how you got to be obese, and was it a gradual process? Did something happen to kind of trigger it, or was it a combination?
Actually, I've been obese all my life. My mom showed food with love, and eat a little more. And I attributed like having something sweet almost after every single meal. I just wasn't given the tools when I was a child, And I think maybe some of that now that I'm a mother, I try to kind of overcompensate for that and really pay attention to my children's weight. So that's been kind of a balance, trying to not be this dictator of sweets and things like that, and really kind of showing them what healthy eating is all about, because I never was shown that. And there was a lot of gluttony kind of things as I grew up too. My parents ate large amounts of food, and it's just something that I saw. My dad actually died from complications of obesity, and he died in his early 50s. And it didn't have to go that way. And it's kind of sad that it went that way. And kind of that was one of the catalysts of me kind of even looking at lap band or a weight loss surgery for my child, and not wanting to leave him early on.
So when you decided to have a weight loss surgery, and you said that was one of the things, your father passing, what were some of the other things that kind of happened that gave you that, kind of feeling of desperation where you just have to take care of the weight at that time?
It's such a weird thing because, here I was a single mother at the time, and I was willing to go through a surgery, which maybe I wouldn't come out on the other side. There's some desperation in that. And it still kind of wows me to this day that I went through that, though I'm very happy that I went about having lap band. But to know that I was in that desperate state, it still kind of amazes me. Other things, my child, he said a couple of comments, early on. I always watch Biggest Loser, and Mommy, you should go on Biggest Loser. I mean, he knew I was a large person. There was a lot of things that I really enjoyed, like gardening. Loved to garden, and that was getting to a point where it was extremely difficult to get down on the ground and dig and do things like that. And then I would say the last one is 5 years ago. I moved to the fittest state, Colorado. And Colorado, I mean, everybody's fit. Everybody runs, bikes, swims. it just seems really active. And so that was another reason why I, saw more active people, learned about that, and kind of got interested in how can I get more healthy.
How did you decide on lap band as opposed to the other option?
I'm a fraidy cat, and it's a control thing too for me. Okay, so with the lap band, it's just a band that goes around your stomach, makes your stomach smaller. You create this little pouch. There's no cutting involved. And then the other thing I thought about it was, one, cheap, because I paid for lap band out of pocket. My insurance didn't pay for that, so that was the cheapest option. But it was mostly a control thing, because if I didn't like it, I could always take it out eventually. Whereas the other surgeries are a little bit more invasive, where you can't reverse that.
What would you say was your biggest fear being heavy, obese? Like, what was your fear?
I would leave my son early. And like I said, I was a single mom. And just, he's my life. So just to leave him like my father left me, good thing I was older. I was around 19 when my dad passed. But I was getting to a point where I saw signs of what my dad had. My dad had diabetes, and I could see my legs and a lot of swelling, if I had been on my feet a lot. And these were all things that I saw in my father, and I just didn't want it for me.
So, what was your heaviest weight, or at least your heaviest recorded weight?
Oh, I was probably heavier than this, but I was 292.6 is what I call my starting weight. But I probably pushed the scale over 300 pounds. And I've been in this 209 area for a long time. And last time I weighed myself was at the end of April. And I was still in that range. And I haven't moved there since a year after my surgery. I still get people, though, at work and people that know me in my run group and things like that that say, hey, have you lost weight? And I think some of that is due to I've done a lot of weightlifting and met with my personal trainer, so I've kind of toned up, but I haven't necessarily lost any weight in the last year.
So how has it been going through that? You talked about this kind of long stall or plateau that you've been on. How have you dealt with that?
I've tried everything, and I kind of think, there's a honeymoon period with the first year of weight loss, and I'm an all-or-nothing person, so I go to extremes. If I want to do something, I will go ahead and, okay, I'm going to get my diet in this certain order, I'm going to get my exercise in this certain order, and I just go full tilt on it rather than making small changes. And I think, I have periods, and even where my running coach has said to me that I was starving my body. So you and I have talked about this, Khalif, of like increasing calories over time. And I've been doing that, and I gotta say my mind works so much better. I'm clearer now, and I'm not so dependent on caffeine like I was even 3-4 months ago. So I really needed these stimulants to even just wake up in the morning and function, and I don't need that anymore. So I know adding calories has helped, and I just have to get this mix correct, so I can actually lose weight. And I'm not perfect, and I've tried all different types of things, and I don't know what the answer is. I sometimes wonder, or wish upon like some kind of transfer addiction to exercise to the point where I can slim down a bunch, but that's not healthy either.
So go ahead, Julie, you asked.
Well, we haven't seen you in a while, so what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been MIA. So I was getting ready. The last video I did was the end of April. And May was huge. It was busy. I had my birthday, my son's birthday. Julie, you know about planning a birthday party for a child. It takes a little bit of time. And I was getting ready for my first half marathon, and those runs were extremely long and could take me hours to do. Along with that, did a lot of camping with my sons and their various Boy Scout activities and stuff like that. I just had no time for YouTube, which is sad because when I stray away from YouTube, my family, I love you guys all, I know I don't do well in other areas. So I'm really dependent on the community. I'm dependent on my run group. I have to give a shout out to them. Overweight to endurance athletes. And extremely dependent on YouTube. And yeah, I seem to do better when I'm staying in check with my videos and, you know.
That was another one of my questions, actually. Yeah, I know at the beginning, I watched one of your very first videos, you said that you signed up, one of the reasons you wanted to start making videos was for accountability. And I wondered if being away from YouTube lately has, like, how it's affected your this leg in the journey.
Yeah, I can say this last month with birthday cake around, I was not as good with that. I still have a little bit of problem with some binge eating here and there, and I'm trying to get through that. It's all a mental thing, and I never knew that. I never even thought that that was going to be an issue for me when I had the weight loss surgery, but they can't fix your head. And staying in constant involvement with the community is key.
Looks like we have a question coming in from some of the viewers, questions starting to come in. And the first one we're going to go with is from Brooke, Crazy Running Mom.
I love Brooke.
She is amazing. Her question is that a photo of your dad behind you on the desk?
That's my father-in-law right there. Okay. And then my grandfather's in this one right here. So, yeah. I'm always in the same place, too. I need to take you guys out and do something.
Maybe you'll take us on your next run.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I need more running videos from you.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to show you guys my group, too. They're amazing.
I do have a question. Actually, I would like to know, since you say you've been overweight for, you know, all of your adult life and even before that, what things have you done to try to lose weight? Like even some crazy things or just different things that you've done to try to lose weight in the past?
Oh my gosh, I think it's like anybody. I did really well with Weight Watchers. I lost 50 pounds with Weight Watchers. I started, you know, dieting early on. I remember in middle school dieting and doing all different kinds of things. I did have some purging kind of things that I did in high school. That's not a diet. That's not healthy. But, you know, I just haven't had a really good relationship with food. The prepackaged diets, the liquid kind of fasts. I mean, I've done, there isn't much that I haven't done. And I always refer to my lap band as Obi-Wan Kenobi because it's my only hope. And Obi-Wan has allowed me to keep off 80 pounds for 2 years now, and or for a year now, but you know. And that's not something that I couldn't have done before. So I know I'm really dependent on the lap band, even though sometimes I hate it when I'm not allowed to eat and it doesn't allow me to eat and I'm super hungry, you know.
What would you say a normal day was like for you at 292 pounds? Because it's got to be completely different than now.
It sucks rocks, basically. I did nothing. I was a huge gamer, and I did a lot of that kind of stuff, and just really glued to the TV, a sedentary lifestyle. And then, you know, I'm a nerd at work and work on computers all day, so I didn't have anything active there either. And just taking a small walk was a huge deal for me. But I remember, you know, every May I get all these flowers. I go to the shop, get all these flowers and get in the garden. And one year I just couldn't do it. I was so dependent on my middle child to help me do that. I just knew it was ridiculous and I should be able, in my 30s, to be able to do something like that. So it was even more reason to get the lap in.
We had a question that has come in from, I'll just say Sherry Ann Crumbly. I don't like saying her screen name. Yeah, my wife. She wants to know, how have you managed to stay motivated through this plateau?
It's taken a lot of heart-to-heart talks with a lot of different people. I have, my pocket peeps that I talk to, and my running coach Richard Kolaski, he is taught me so many things because he was a bariatric patient as well and lost 150 pounds. So he has a lot of insight on the journey. A lot of hard talks with him and come to Jesus talks when I was, off and not doing what I was supposed to be doing, because it hasn't been a perfect journey. But I've been really dependent on others, and like I said, YouTube as well.
Okay, I have a question that is probably not completely related to weight loss. Okay, it's not at all, but you mentioned in your questionnaire that you once saved a chicken with a kind of odd instrument. Can you just tell us about this, please?
So I didn't know what to put down for this, questionnaire that you guys had for the show. So I put odd things about me. And my claim to fame is resuscitating a chicken. My sister and I, we grew up on a farm, and we had these little small banty chickens. It's not a normal sized chicken. They're like a fancy chicken. They're like a snack, basically, if you wanted to eat them. And he went for a swim in the pool and shouldn't have, and we pulled him out. When we were pulling him out, he was just gushing with water coming out. And we thought, okay, well, let's try to resuscitate him. I think my sister had learned something about CPR a few weeks before or something like that. So we started mouth to beak, and we were not getting enough air, like his chest wasn't, going enough. So we're like, okay, let's get a bicycle pump. And that did the trick. And so his little chest was going up and down. And we probably worked on the guy for maybe 15 minutes or so. He was a little brain dead after, but he survived. But he would, like run into walls every now and again and things like that. He was not all there. But that's my claim to fame.
That's awesome.
We have a question from Rima Walk. She says, how long have you been a runner?
I've been a runner over a year now. And I started with a group that was loosely related to my bariatric surgeon, and started out with the Couch to 5K, and that's a pretty common thing that people start out with. Did a lot of walking, and I still do from now, now and then. Even with my half marathon I did, yeah, I walked a lot of that too. But I'm out there doing it, and I'm doing things that I never thought possible. Like Khalif has talked about, he doesn't have this love for running, but he does it, and that's kind of, unless you've changed, Khalif, I'm not sure. But
I know I haven't changed.
But I don't have this crazy, like, I love running kind of attitude. I love the feeling after. And if they could bottle up that feeling and give you a little bit of that before you start your run, it would be super awesome. But they don't, and I gut it out. First mile just sucks, and I'm hating life. But by mile 2, I'm feeling like I can actually do it. And now that I've done 13.1, I just have to keep on telling myself, just like the journey of weight loss, the same thing goes on with running. It's a total head game.
So why do you keep running? Is it because it like helps you with your weight loss, stay in shape? Is it because you've like developed these relationships with people on your team? Like, what keeps you running?
I would say mostly, honestly, it's my team. I stay in check with them. We have a Facebook page. There's people from all over the country that work with my trainer, and we just have a really great group. And they notice and call you out if you don't show up. So we have runs 2 to 3 times a week, and they've even added, things like yoga and personal training, boot camps and things like that. So it's just an awesome group.
Michael VSG asks, hello. It says, I'm post-op VSG, and I hate food right now. Did this ever happen to you? And if so, how long did it last?
I've always loved food. I hate when I can't eat it. That's the biggest problem with my lap band. It's temperamental. Obi-Wan does not let me have what I want all the time, and mornings are really bad. So it's a lot of liquids and stuff in the morning. So I mostly get frustrated with what I can't have, and even when I want to be sensible about what I'm actually eating.
We got a question that came in from Tina, Prairie Princess 1. First, she said, you look beautiful.
Thank you, Tina.
And she asked, are you having to deal with excess skin? And what are your thoughts on plastic surgery?
Well, gosh, I flipped the bill so much on my surgery. I'm doing actually pretty well as far as loose skin for myself. I thought I was going to have a lot of problems. My arms are looking really good, but that's attributed probably to a lot of weightlifting. My legs have always been good. My problem area is my stomach, and truth be told, there'll be a lot of work needed on that. And if I'm able to afford it, I will go ahead and get that taken care of. But I got 60 pounds or more still to lose, so it's not really something I'm looking at right now. But I'm not opposed to it.
Looks like Sherry Ann has a question, and it's more of a funny question. She said, is the life of a brain-dead chicken any kind of life at all?
I don't know. I mean, he seemed happy. He still had his family. We had his little one and his wife. You know, he's kind of happy. And he never went into the pool again, so he learned his lesson. So that's good.
So you wrote in your in the questionnaire that you plan to try to get back to a more plant-based diet,
Right.
but you know you'll face difficulties because of the lap band. So, can you elaborate on the difficulty first, and how do you plan on working that out?
He's still in all my questions tonight.
Oh, good job, Khalif. Really. Well, it's kind of ingrained or like crammed down your throat when you're a weight loss surgery patient about getting in so much protein. And you can get a lot of protein in even with a plant-based diet, but maybe not hitting the total grams that they're recommending. So it's kind of, I see some people talk about it in the weight loss community that they're actually thinking about going more plant-based, but it's kind of this taboo thing in a way. And there are certain foods like broccoli. Oh, I used to love broccoli. That is not my friend anymore. I can't get broccoli down to save my life. So there are some things that I really enjoy and that just don't work with my band, and that's different for everyone. But I just kind of wanted to get away from a lot of meat, and as I've been doing this, my stomach feels a lot better. A lot of weight loss surgery patients have constipation issues. Let's just be serious here. And so having more fruits and vegetables in your diet has helped me feel so much better.
We have a question from Zen Maiden. She says, first, you look great. What is your goal weight? Do you get regular fills to maintain restriction? And what would you say is your toughest hurdle with the journey? Okay, so I'll ask the first question.
Yeah.
What is your goal weight?
My goal weight, I'm thinking around 140, 150 maybe, right around in there.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'6", almost 5'6.5", give or take.
She said, do you get regular fills to maintain your restriction?
No, I usually have to get a lot of unfills because we went up too much, or there's things I love tortilla chips, and I shouldn't love tortilla chips basically with the lap band, and you can get some irritation there, and it's just not happy with you for a while. So sometimes I've went in for unfills just because my stomach's just irritated and swollen from eating something that I shouldn't. But I haven't had a lot of fills.
And then she says, what would you say is your toughest hurdle with the journey?
Just being in a stall for a long time and trying a bunch of different things and not really gaining a lot of traction on that, and then going through these cycles of doubt. You know, I love my lap band, but at the same time, sometimes I hate it and wonder, should I have just tried this on my own, but then know that I did that for many years before that and had no success. So yeah, I think the struggle is when you stall out and you don't know what to do.
Brooke has a statement and then another question. She says the first miles always suck. And then she says that, what running shoes do you wear?
I love Brooks. I fell in love with, well, my trail shoes are Cascadias, and I love those. And I don't know the name of my Brooks, my regular shoes, but yeah, I'm a fan of Brooks. I'm looking for, if anybody has suggestions, different kinds of socks, because on my half marathon, I got a huge blister on my toe and was not happy. So if anybody has suggestions on that, yeah, and gosh, yeah, those are the shoes I love.
I'm sure Brooke will chime in about the socks. She was trying to talk me into buying some like $20 running socks one time.
Oh, I have the things like that say they won't cause blisters, but that's a bunch of hooey. Yes, and I don't understand too, because on half marathon day, I did the same thing. I wore the same pants. I wore everything the same, even my shoes, or socks as well. And I ended up getting this blister around mile 10. So yeah, I was not happy.
Now, I just wanted to ask, you ran a half marathon in May, and you're running another half marathon in June. Is that right?
In August, beginning of August.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I got a deal on that. If anybody knows, you know, half marathons, they're pretty expensive. And they had this deal for $15. They were bringing back prices from when they first started the race. And so, yeah, it was a deal, and I couldn't pass it up. And now I'm committed to it, so with the rest of my group. So I'm going to have to show up. But I hope to do a lot better than I did in my first one. And it's downhill, too. It's up in the mountains, and you're going downhill, which, I don't know, it might be a bad thing, too, on your knees. But we'll see. I'll report in.
Do you feel that you have an eating disorder of any kind, or any addictions to foods?
Yeah.
Or you?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what's your take on that, like for yourself?
I know I have an extremely unhealthy relationship with food, which was not cured with getting a lap band. Not that I thought it was going to be, nor did I think I had an issue with food back then. I thought I ate pretty healthy, but I was just kind of fooling myself. Like I said, I talked about purging. I did that early on. And I went through bouts where I don't know how much I've eaten. You know, I get done with this euphoric eating things over and over, and I haven't done this since lap band, where I just didn't remember what food I ate until you see wrappers and packages around you. So that's not healthy. So yeah, I do feel like I would probably benefit with talking to somebody about it, but I've never found anybody, and I've done that, but I've never found anybody that I really connected with. And I almost feel like my YouTube family here is more, I got more out of, you know, everyone in the community than I ever got with just one-on-one talking to someone.
Now, you mentioned earlier in the show that your son, you know, made the comment that maybe you can be a contestant on The Biggest Loser while he was watching it with you.
Right.
You know, which probably was just an innocent comment.
Yeah.
But has he or anyone else in your family or some people close to you remarked that you're losing weight, or have they expressed any feelings at all about your journey?
I can't say that I left you know, out the fact that I was going to get surgery, and didn't tell a lot of my family until after it was done. They haven't been super supportive, and I'm not sure why. I remember my sister-in-law and I going out shopping one day and seeing a rather large person, and she said, "Oh, well, if you ever get to that point, I'm going to," I can't even remember what she said, but basically have an intervention with me, basically. And so, yeah, there's a lot of negativity around my weight. And, everyone in my family struggled with it, so I'm not exactly sure why, that they're not very supportive. Case in point, like I saw my mother a couple months ago when my grandfather had passed, and I hadn't seen her since I lost the 80 pounds, and not one word was said about me actually looking like I lost weight. And that's just kind of how they are, and I just have to accept that. I don't have to like it, though.
Right.
Twin Girl 081 says, do you crave sweets more than you did before?
Yeah, I never was a sweet person before, but I noticed that I'm leaning more toward that now. And I think some of that has to do with a lot of sweets are easy to get down with my lap band. So ice cream, super easy, always goes down, never have a problem with that. And so I think I'm actually craving those kinds of foods just because I know that I can actually eat them and have that really full sensation. So.
Michael VSG asks, what is your end goal? Which I believe you've already said, but you can go ahead and say it again. Or some of your short-term goals.
My short-term goal is to get under 200 pounds. And my good friend from my running group wants to do that we kind of made a pact with each other by August 1st. Now that's going to be a tall order for me to get it done, just because, one, I don't really know my weight right now because I'm in that flux of love-hate with my evil scale, and it's hate and avoidance right now. And, I've been in a stall so long that, just even thinking about losing, let's say, 9 pounds is huge. But that's the short goal. The end goal is just to, a lot of when I look back at my video for this year, what are my plans, most of them weren't weight related at all. It was all physical stuff that I wanted to accomplish, which is a total change for myself. I never would have thought, those were the things that I was worried about rather than, a number per se.
Looks like Twin Girl 81 has asked, it says, I am afraid to run. How did you get over the fear of falling? I have lost 70 pounds from weight loss surgery, but afraid of falling. Is this strange?
Oh, I don't think it's strange at all. And congrats on the weight loss. I feel like I'm top heavy, just going to say it. And also, I feel like when you're a bigger person, your ankles, you just don't feel as sure-footed for some reason. So any little thing, a little rock here or there will cause you to just, I feel like Bambi on ice, at some points. I just had to get over that. A lot of it in the beginning, you're not supposed to do this, is like looking down at the ground as you run. It's not good form, I've been told many, many times. But, I just had to do that kind of stuff in the beginning, even though it wasn't the proper way to do it, just to make sure and feel better. And then I never went out in crazy weather. I always, nicest weather possible, and that's when I went out. And another thing is starting on a treadmill, I think, was a little bit easier for me, too. Starting on there rather than going outside, I felt a little bit like if I did feel like I was going to fall, I could at least grab onto the handle or something.
You talked about some of the, the fact that much of this battle is mental, and the surgery doesn't address that part. What are some of the things that you have done to try to address the mental battle, whether they be big things or even just small kind of tricks that you've tried to do to change your mind?
Oh gosh, I had a call for help for people on YouTube asking for a pocket peep, and I got a great response from that. And that's hard for me. I've never been one for asking for help. So I think, you know, that's a good thing along this journey that I've come to that kind of state and realize that I need help. Gosh, I don't know beyond that.
I noticed when I was watching one of your very early videos, I think you had the band for like 6 weeks, 4 or 6 weeks before you made your first video. And it seemed that you were frustrated with the progress that you were making. It seemed like there were other people in the community that maybe were losing things faster. You had this frustration kind of from the beginning, and I just wanted to know: is it hard not to compare yourself to other lap band patients?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing having the YouTube community, but it's a curse and a blessing at the same time because comparison is so natural. So you know, on my vision board, I have comparison is the thief of joy, or yeah, the thief of joy. Yeah, exactly. And you know, just kind of reminding myself that I can't do that. I am in a healthier state, but yeah, I get frustrated. I'm not gonna lie. I say it, I voice it. And, you know, this last year has probably been more frustrating. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to compare yourself.
I did skip a question from Michael VSG. Sorry about that, Michael. It says, how, excuse me, how does your kids feel about you getting banded?
They didn't know in the beginning. My son was away for the summer with his dad. So he didn't really know I was going through the surgery. My other two, they were at their mom's that week when I had my surgery done. So, and the band is a really quick turnaround time for, you know, back up and running. I mean, the recovery time is very small. So they didn't really see that. Now they know, you know, and they know what types of, you know, like when I'm serving a plate, they know what I can eat, and oh, I'm obviously eating something smaller. Unfortunately, it's kind of warped my perception on what I need to feed them, which is kind of weird because, you know, I'm so used to making small portions for myself, then kind of gauging what they want. And I have a 13-year-old, almost 14-year-old, and he eats a lot now. So it's kind of hard to gauge, you know, what should he be eating.
It looks like we got another question that came in from CKR Tom 2, Mark. He says, I believe you said you were a single mom. Has losing weight impacted your social life, and how, if so?
Well, I met my husband after I shortly moved to Colorado, so I haven't been a single mom for a while now, about 5 years. So I met him shortly after I moved to Colorado. Yeah, so I haven't really been smaller and kind of had any kind of, you know, kind of thing with dating and things like that, though. I have gotten more attention than I was used to seeing before, and I'm very uncomfortable with that, and I don't think I'll ever get out of that mind state. Yeah.
I was just thinking about, I know that you've been in the stall for a long time, and I think that's something that the whole community can relate with, especially those of us who, I know that Rob and I started following you right around the time Cleve did, about a year at least, and you know, those of us that have been on YouTube for a while, I think we've all hit some stalls along the way, and we get really frustrated. And even now, looking at the whole community, I was just thinking about how, you know, a lot of us that have been on this journey for a while, we're kind of just sitting there. We're kind of just trying to figure out what can we do to get things moving again. And every week, you know, I make a video and I sit here and say the same thing, and it kind of feels redundant, but at the same time, it feels necessary. I think that it helps everyone when we know that other people are stuck too.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of why I've stuck with it, even though I haven't done a video since the end of April, but I've kind of stuck with this no matter what, just because I see a lot of people trail off and you don't hear from them ever again. And I didn't want to be one of those people. Not that it's bad, but you know, they probably, some of them went through frustration that I'm going through right now. And yeah, it does feel like you're a broken record and saying the same thing, and maybe that I'm kind of a spaz in all the different things that I try every week. Oh, I'm going to try this week, and I'm going to try that, you know. And so, you know, I don't know how I'm actually perceived in that way, because I'm trying so many different things and just, you know, different ways of trying to get this weight off.
but you keep going, and you know, I keep thinking, you know, when you at least when you're going and you're even if you're maintaining, you're not going backwards. You're not going back to where you were, and I think that's so important. And it's such an important message to people that, you know, getting to goal isn't like an overnight thing. It's not easy. It is a journey. It's going to be for the rest of our life. So whether we lose it, you know, in the first year, you know, 2 years out, 3 years out, 4 years, I mean, it's all about staying healthy, moving forward, not going backward.
Yeah,
and I think that's
and spinning it too, so that you're not just focusing on so much negative. I just had a visit with my bariatric surgeon not long ago, within the last month, and told him, hey, I'm going through this stall, and he's like, yes, you are, because I went after a year and I was 209, and I came back to him last month and I was 209, and he's like, at least you can say, Heather, that you haven't gained anything. And most of the time, he says, 90% of my patients that come back to me and say that they have some kind of issue have gained a considerable amount of weight. So, I mean, I had to spin that and kind of take ownership of that and like, okay, it's not so bad. And, you know, yeah.
It looks like Lisa, LJB415Able, has a question and a comment. She says, I have been having port pain mostly when I jog and walk a lot. Have you had a lot of port pain, if any at all?
Yeah, I have it with sit-ups. So I can't do regular sit-ups, but I can do crunches on a ball for some reason. I don't understand the difference there. Planks, I will feel it. And I don't know the exact exercise, but you're laying on your back and pushing your feet up with a weight there. And for some reason, that makes my port, it almost feels like it's going to pop out of my stomach. So yeah, and I have never had it with running that I can remember. But I still have it to this day, you know, 2 years out, and I still have port pain depending on some kind of exercise that I may have done. And I hear that that's supposedly normal, which is weird.
Okay, so it looks like Lisa actually has another question. And she asked, do you find that people of other surgeries look at banders automatically as slow losers?
Yeah, I look at them that way too. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a slower way to go. It seems, you know, just if you watch some videos of banded people, but then some people kick butt and they lose 150 pounds on it. There's something to be said when you have a considerable amount of weight loss to do, and you know, a bariatric surgeon will a lot of times say and lean toward you know, a VSG or an RNY surgery, because you know, lap band, the success rate is a little bit different. You know, I wouldn't say, well, maybe, you know, I just don't see it like an RNY patient, just in my experience.
Well, I know this will probably get some people riled up, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but I have noticed that among the different groups of weight loss, like you said, RNY, VSG, banders, I almost feel like sometimes people have to stand up for whatever they've had, because I think some people do look down on people that's had weight loss surgery, and I don't particularly think that that's correct that people do that, because I think any tool you can use is a great tool, and it's your life, and you should be able to do what you want. But it's almost like it's sport teams, and here we have the BSGs, and here we have the RNYs, and here we have the Banders, and okay, let's go. Who's first to the finish race? I've seen that a lot just watching it, and you know, if people disagree, that's fine. This is my opinion, and I'm stating it. But it almost seems like there's a little bit of tension, even just between the different surgeries among the people that's had them within the community.
Right. And that's one thing I love about all of you three, that you've never, I was amazed that you guys would even watch me, honestly, because maybe, I'm just going to say it, I was kind of a snob in the beginning. I was only watching people like myself. And that's just natural, right? You try and gravitate to people that are kind of like you, and you have this camaraderie, you know? And yeah, it's a little cliquey, I would say, but I think overall, you know, there's a lot of cheerleaders out there that don't matter, you know, it doesn't matter what surgery you've had, or if you know, you're losing weight on your own. Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way. However, whatever your choice is, if that's the choice that was best for you, yeah. But I can't say that I didn't gravitate toward, you know, Banders in the beginning. I just did, you know.
We have a question from Sherry Ann. I'm not going to read her screen name either. She says, considering everything you've learned through your highs and lows, what would be the most important piece of advice you would give someone at the start of their journey?
Know that there's a lot of head work, and don't think that you're different in that. And I hate to make a comment like that, but I'm going to, because I was so headstrong and thought, well, you know, you know, the surgery is going to solve the whole issue, and it doesn't. And I think that's with any kind of thing, even when you're losing weight on your own, it's a total mental battle to keep that going, and week by week, maybe when you don't lose and you gain, you know.
Okay, we got actually a two-part question from Zen Maiden 1. She asks, first, what keeps you going when you are in the stall or plateau? And secondly, what were you doing differently in the beginning or when you were losing that you're not doing now?
So, see, this is so bad. It's one moment. I forgot the first part. So, second part. The second part, I was, you know, eating so few calories. I mean, I was lucky in the first 3 months if I was getting over 600 calories a day. Now, I look at that now, and I think that's crazy talk, and just not a good way to be. So, you know, obviously you're going to have a good amount of weight loss in the beginning. I don't know necessarily if that's the healthiest thing, though. But that's all I could get in at the time. And what was the first part?
She asked, what keeps you going in the stall or plateau?
I think my family keeps me going. It's kind of weird, just, you know, if I'm even putting on some comfy kind of clothes that are, maybe some of them are my running type clothes, their automatic thought of, oh, Heather, are you going out running? You know, so I'm held accountable to them, and they know the amount of fitness that I do, and if I don't do it, they kind of take note of that. Yeah, my family is the one that kind of keeps me going through this whole thing, and I've mentioned my run group this whole time, but they're really a savior. So they have called me out, and they're not afraid to do it. So that's good too.
I think one thing that you've done in the like just recently in your last few months, I mean, and I've done this before along my journey, is when you're stuck in that stall, you tend to, you know what, I'm going to focus on my physical goals and take a break from my scale goals. And I think that is so important sometimes, because it will remind you like that you are getting healthy. You're still getting healthy. The scale, you know, you can't control the scale. But if you're working out and you're eating right and you're drinking your water, the scale will eventually move.
Right.
And setting a goal like signing up for a race, you know, it gives you something to aim for and achieve, even when you're not feeling that achievement on the scale.
Right. Yeah, I look at, and I've had to do that, where making a list of what can I do now that I never would have thought that I would have ever done. You know, hiking a 14,000-foot mountain, that's one of them. Running a half marathon, and I have to just show my bling. Okay, guys, this is what I got. Just saying, I wore it the whole day that after I got it. I almost slept with it. Just saying, but. You know, those kind of things, I had to actually make a list real recently of like things that I've done that I never thought possible. You know, going to a water park. I didn't even go to a water park when I was a kid because I was so embarrassed. And I've done that a few different times now. Yeah, there's just so much, and I feel so much more healthy.
So I have a question that kind of, I guess, is a follow-up to that. If you were to be able to accomplish all of those goals and even become a better runner, have more endurance, get faster, and accomplish all your physical goals, but you only got down to 201, would you be happy? Would you be pleased?
Honestly, no. I mean, health is what everybody says that they want when they get a weight loss surgery or start a journey of weight loss, right? I want health. So I do want that. But I would like to be able to wear cuter clothes, and it's getting better. You know, when I was a 28, there was a lot of sacks for me to wear and things like that. So, you know, I'm getting a little bit better selection in clothes, and I'm still kind of marveling when I can go into a store and they'll have a size that I can put on. I've put on, you know, a size 14, 16, and I can't believe I can get into that. So, you know, and that's a happy thing, happy dance thing for me. But I would like to get down to single digits in clothing. I'm not gonna lie.
Then Maiden 1 asked, do you or does your bariatric surgeon think that your personal metabolism plays a role in the loss rate?
Yeah, he talked a lot, and he knows my my running coach. They're you know, they're affiliated with each other. So you know, my coach Richard had, you know, saw all my training plans and then my nutrition plans, and was always hounding me on the amount that I was eating and not getting enough calories in. And I've heard the same story from my bariatric surgeon, that I just wasn't eating enough for the amount of energy I was putting out. And he said that a lot of his patients aren't doing what I was doing, not doing the kinds of workouts that Richard was having me do. So that I needed to increase that, but it was difficult for me to do that. There was a lot of control, and then there was the comparisons to other weight loss patients, you know, that I see here on YouTube, and I find out that they're only eating 800 to 1,000 calories, and I thought I needed to do that too. So that's hard, you know, when you're doing that comparison thing, and you're hearing from your doctor you need to do something, and that's where I'm talking about it's a mental game.
Yeah, I remember when you went through that and you made several videos, and like I said, we even talked about that, you know, quite a bit. I mean, what ultimately just made you say, okay, I'm going to trust what they're telling me and trust what I'm hearing from them, and I'm just going to slowly increase my calories?
Well, I do want to thank you, and I've thanked you many times, Khalif, for just making videos like you did, because I was hearing it from my husband, I was hearing it from my surgeon, I was hearing it from my coach, and I don't know, it finally sunk in when I heard you talk about it, and you talked about just making this really gradual approach, because like I said before, I'm an all or nothing kind of person, and I just never, I don't know why, never thought that I could just, okay, I'll just do this gradually and see how I feel. I do know that going through that approach was great. It kind of helped with the mental things of, you know, oh, I'm going to eat 100 more calories today. Ooh, you know, that was hard for me in the beginning, but doing it slowly really helped.
How many calories are you eating on a regular basis?
I'm eating around 16. I'm scared to say it, you know, but that's what that range. And now on the weekend, I can go up from there, you know, especially if I have an ice cream cone or something. But yeah, normally during the week, that's what I'm eating.
Okay, it looks like we have time for one more question. It looks like we do have one more question that's come in from ZenMaiden1. Well, you know how Zen does. It looks like it's in parts. So she says, do you or have you had an issue with hair loss or other side effects of weight loss?
Yeah, the hair loss, oh gosh. And I didn't have a lot of hair to begin with. That's the thing. It's taken me almost 5 years to grow what little I have here. And right around the 3-month mark is when I started losing a lot of hair. I could look at my first pictures day of surgery and look at my hair and, oh man, it was thicker than I thought. And then 3 months later, taking after photos at the 3-month mark and seeing that my hair had thinned down quite a bit. It was very stringy to the point where I had to cut it a good bit, which was hard for me.
All right, I think that's it. But just trying to look and see if Rob or Julie have any questions that they want to ask.
I asked all
mine.
Well, and you asked all mine.
Well, I guess we were thinking alike. Heather, it's just been great having you on. And, I mean, one thing I'll say is that you seem just the same here as you are in your videos. I know you talked about how many takes you usually go through.
Yeah, I was nervous about this because of that. So.
Yeah, it was great. It was great having you on. It was great hearing your answers and your perspective. And yeah, just thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope we'll see more of you.
Yeah, I love you guys. I love you.
Love you too, Heather.
Love you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. So before you click off, I know Heather's gone and you want to hurry up and get away, but we have a couple of things that we want to announce. The first thing really quick is I'll just remind you guys that we are that we only have 2 more shows left, 2 more episodes of Renew for the first season, and then we're taking off in July and August, and we'll be coming back in September. So just make sure that you tune in over the next 2 weeks. And actually, Julie and Rob are going to tell you guys who are going to be the guests over those next 2 weeks.
Okay, next week on June 18th, we will have Belinda Ball with us, and I am so excited for that show. She is so much fun on her channel, and I think we're going to have a blast. You won't want to miss it.
And coming up June 25th is Deanna Bray. Deanna Bray has had lap band, which she had removed years ago, and then had a gastric bypass where she grew a fistula and had to go in and have a revision done. And her story is just amazing. That episode is going to be an hour and a half, so Deanna will be on the first hour, and then we have something really special for the last half an hour, and maybe Khalif can touch base on that real quick just so people know what's coming, because it was announced last week. But Khalif, if you want to let them know we're going to do that last half an hour, I think it's going to be fun and exciting.
Right. I'm excited for it too. What we plan to do is that we're going to discuss all of the episodes of the first season. We're going to go through and hit some of the highlights, some of the things we enjoyed from each guest, things that we learned, and even some of the funny moments that happened during the interviews. And yeah, I think we're just going to have a great time just going through, you know, our favorite moments from the first season. One last thing, and I'm going to ask both of you guys to chime in a little bit on this in the last minute. But on Thursday, this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to have a special episode of The Renew Show. For those of you who don't know, my co-host, Rob Reno, Julie Wilson, along with Tina, Prairie Princess 1, they all met up at Julie's home for about 5 days, right? I think it was 5 days. So they met up for, okay, you're going to get it, 5.5 days. if you watch their channels, you saw some of the videos, some of the little clips of things they've done. But we're actually going to give them an hour to discuss how it was to meet with people from YouTube, you know, some strangers from the internet, and also just how they developed a friendship, how they began to reach out to one another. Because I think a lot of us have that, and actually Heather talked about that, is how she started to reach out to people, and that became a big support group. So they won't just be talking about their trip, but I also plan to ask them things, and hope you guys ask them about just how they developed a relationship and a friendship at all, you know. So if you guys have anything to say about that to make us want to tune in on Thursday, go ahead.
I'm going to be dishing some dirt.
I think Tina and I are the ones with the dirt. You guys won't want to miss it, trust us.
All right, guys. So I'm looking forward to it, and most likely we'll all on our own channels remind you guys about it. But that's this Thursday, June 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have a special episode of Renew to discuss, you know, just their friendship and also the trip that they had this past weekend. So hopefully you guys will be able to tune in for that and have some fun with us. All right, I think that's it, and we just thank you guys for tuning in and making the show wonderful once again, and we hope you guys have a wonderful evening. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.